We'll start you off, just gently. On 3. Araya Zutura, Aisutu Ishu Okay, so just as I said, just feel your way into it. Don't worry initially whether you think you're saying it right or whether you're creating much volume. Just move into it and let it start to build. Okay, on 3. 1, 2, 3. Araya Zutara, Aisutu Ishua. Araya Zutara, Aisutu Ishua. Araya Zutara. I'm looking forward to a whopper of a round table as a result of that experience. Okay, now the 3 suffixes that we're going to use as a result of that are the ones that we've been led to choose for next Sunday's round table, which are Ra, tribe 12, Ku, tribe 10, and Ka, tribe 4. So what we'll do now is we'll approach it the same way as we've just done, and that is we'll build up the familiarity and the feeling, just slowly, and then we'll build up the intensity, the volume, and the speed, just as you've done. So we go Ra, Ku, Ka. Ra, Ku, Ka. Ra, Ku, Ka. Ra, Ku, Ka. Ra. Take it away.
Ra, Ku, Ka. Ra, Ku, Ka.
Try and feel the melody, though.
Ra, Ku, Ka.
Ra, Ku, Ka. Just be still for a moment and allow your crystal, your soul song to emerge. Oi. Yeah. Rakuka. 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 Rakuka.
Thank you all. That was very powerful. Now, what's interesting, when we work with tones, do you ever hear the saying, thoughts are things? Well, tones are things too. We're creating standing wave patterns around our bodies when we do these. The way things like pyramids were built in the ancient of days is you would get a group of people together and they would sing the very specific tones that went with the template of the rock they were trying to levitate. They would tap into what that sound was, and they would begin to externalize it in a unified field. Now, it's really interesting. When you use tones, what you just did was activate temporarily your tribal shield, which means you can now pull subharmonics of the rainbow ray more fully than even after you did the Hiroshe activation sequence. We are building. What is happening with this? I'm getting echo everywhere. Sound people help. What is that?
Move the microphone further up on what Josh was.
Is it this?
I don't think so, but try anyways.
What, in my ear? Shall I wear it as an earring? Not quite that far. Is this all right for you up here?
Just down a bit.
Just down a bit. Yeah, it'll be recording my eardrum sounds. You know, my heartbeat in my ear. Okay. Now, when we work with sounds, you have a question?
In the handouts, on the 6th, there's the M missing, the last. It's not U, it's M. You can correct your handouts.
This one?
Copy.
Oh, okay. There's another. Yeah, there's a couple people said that either on the bottom. This is when they run them through the automatic feed system, and if the pages slide a little because we're so close to the margin, sometimes they cut off. If you're having any problems with pages that have anything cut off on them, we're going to, I don't know, did we talk to Monica yet? We're going to try to work this through you. If there's any page replacements that need to be sent up because they have to be rerun down there, we're going to centralize that through Monica, if that's okay. So we don't have 10 different people's addresses that get lost along with the 500 addresses we have scattered all over our office right now. If we can send up what's needed, if you can let Monica know what's needed, then we can send it to her, and then she can get it to you from up here, okay? Because that's not intentional. We're still relying on Kinko's and places like that to run, to make these manuals for us. Fortunately, at least the Voyager's books are, published through a regular thing, and they're actually perfect bound and look like books. Okay. So it's if you see like things like that, correct them with pen on the ones you have if you can, so you know what the tone is. Like number 6, if that's cut off, it's U-M. It's the sound. Okay. All right. Next. Okay. Now I'm going to get into Merkaba. Not quite yet. I need to show them this thing. Okay. Oh, that's one that has scribbles on it.
It has a correction. It's the only one we have.
All right. They were corrected in the book, though, weren't they?
Yep.
Okay. Okay.
It's just our Mylar, so it's been changed.
Okay. This is an old Mylar. All right. This one. What page is this? The original.
233.
233. Okay. Now, eventually we'll have more prettier graphics, because one of the things that's such a bummer, I watch the other Ascension programs out there, even when they're teaching Anunnaki reverse matrix teachings, and they just have the prettiest booklets. They have time to have computer people do all the pretty colors. They have colored graphics. They're all so beautiful. It's so irritating. I'm glad they have it, but I wish we had time to give that to you too. I'm lucky I figured out how to make graphs on the computer, because I used to draw them all by hand and do paste ups all the time. So at least I'm graduating to computer. This one was a paste up by hand one, if you can't tell. All right. This is simply showing you the Merkaba vehicle I was talking about, your Merkaba vehicle around your body. Now there's lots of little ones inside your body. At each dimensional level, there's a small Merkaba field, okay? Then you have your parts of your harmonic Merkaba fields. You have your Nethra phase down here. This is a little confusing, this diagram, because I stuffed too much on it. So what I have to do at some point is I'm going to break them down into the stages so you see the shapes around you one at a time instead of all put together. The important thing on seeing this one is realizing that you have these counter-rotating spirals of energy, and they are in the shape of a star tetrahedron right now, the way our mathematics are running. And this is what the shields are doing. This is the relationship. If your Merkaba vehicle is activated here, it implies that the shield corresponding to that Merkaba vehicle level is activated. So you would have the shields activating as well. These would be spinning. And the spinning of the shields, it's actually generating the momentum of spinning the Merkaba around the body. And the same phenomenon is happening all the way down into the DNA, into the chemical DNA. They all make little vortices of counter-rotating spirals of energy. So Merkaba vehicles aren't that mysterious, but there is a huge mechanics built on them. You could take like Master's Level 20 Merkaba mechanics and learn how to create things, living beings, You could learn how to manifest something out of just the elements that are right here and send it walking away from you, calling you mama, okay, or dada. And technically, that's not particularly something we're supposed to do down here in this density level. We're supposed to at least have the rest of us integrated before we make decisions like that, because we might mess up something and we're trapping consciousness in it when we do those things. You know, kind of like the stuff that scientists are doing these days with their genetic experimenting, kind of like designer babies and those kind of things. They don't know what they're doing to the templates. So anyway, this is just to show you that these are the Merkaba levels around you. There's also fields of energy that radiate out from them. And I just wanted to show you, you can read these on your own. I'm not going to cover this heavy detail right now. It's not necessary. What we do need to know is how to use the Merkaba right now, how we can begin to use our Merkabas to activate them in a way that they can begin to be self-healing and at the same time begin to help us heal the other portions of our templates that are damaged. And that simply has to do with knowing how to do something called a salutation. Salutations were dances that were done in the days when humans were breatharians. These things were done once in the daytime and once at night. In the daytime, the solar energy coming in, which was an antiparticle frequency that was coming in from the solar spirals, would be used to amplify the speed of and energize the top electrical Merkaba. And in the evening, at night, after the moon would come up, the reflected light of the moon, which goes into a different vibration spectrum, would be used to energize the magnetic bottom Merkaba. And because they would do these things twice a day, when they, in the morning, they didn't sleep. So it wasn't like when they woke up. And they didn't worry about when they were going to bed, because they didn't. They didn't have to, because they constantly energized their fields. They stayed in consciousness simply by breathing energy through the Merkaba and through accelerating its spin on a regular basis by connecting with the planetary and the solar Merkaba fields when they were working properly. So there are two techniques, it's one technique, but it can be done two ways. You can start with activating the top one, the electrical one first, which would be the series of these up here. The ones that are pointed this way, they have the point on top, they're the electrical ones that are feeding energy down in clockwise. In the daytime, if you started a salutation in the daytime, you'd start with this one first, to activate this one first, and then you'd go and amplify this one. If you did it at night, like we're going to do, you'd start with this one first, to pick up the primary, what the base vibration of the atmosphere around you. Remember, it's a hologram, it's energy. So you want to pull in the sound tones of the energy that's around you right now, so you would start with the base magnetic in the evening time. What we're going to do is get these things spinning at their proper Christos rate. Right now, what we've got, particularly people that have taken those other courses and been tricked into running their Merkabas purposely and consciously with more current running through them in reverse. When some people have been taught to look at this one as the electrical Merkaba, the male Merkaba, and they're taught to spin it clockwise. What that does is suck energy out of the body. They've been taught that this is the female one. Instead of bringing energy in the body and through it, it's ripping it out this way. No wonder our bodies don't feel too great and they're getting older and they're falling apart in stellar activation cycles. It doesn't take that much to temporarily reset your Merkaba on the right spin. Because when you run D12 frequency or higher, and when you activate your tribal shield, which allows those little flickers of the Kira-shaped primal light currents to flicker on through your Kathara grid, that's generating enough thrust that you can then move your body literally and change the spin. You can use the momentum of your physical body to give the command once you know what the spin is supposed to be. You don't even need to know the mathematics, but they are there. The spin of the Merkaba fields is a direct translation of Partakai phasing rhythms and ratios. The core ratio of how a Partakai unit breaks down into Partakai and Partakam is 11 2/3 to 33 1/3 equals 45, right? 45 would be the Partakai unit, and 11 2/3 would be the magnetic Partakam, and 33 1/3 would be the Partakai. Now, this is the rhythm that the base Merkabas use. They pick up in increments from there. So if you set the simple base program of 11 2/3 bottom counterclockwise with 33 1/3 clockwise top electrical, you will set the whole bunch of them into the right ratios of motion.
when you're running the D12 current, that's the key. The D12 current and the little flickers of the key Richet primal light fields are putting enough of the divine blueprint in where you're just giving a little opening. You're giving it the push for the divine blueprint to take, and the divine blueprint is what's anchoring it in there, and it'll keep it spinning that way for a while. Now, after a while, the planetary grids will overwhelm it, and it'll start taking it back the other way. But if you do them once a day, if you do one once a day, you don't even have to do it twice a day. If you do it once a day, you can keep your Merkaba rotating in the right rotation, which means it will progressively begin to bring in more of the missing frequencies, the ones that are blocked out right now. It will progressively begin to help you purge the distortions in your template, in the DNA template, in the Kathara Grid template. It will also enable you to begin rapidly building the six-dimensional Merkaba vehicle, because you're not just working with the bottom one here. What's happening with the Merkaba mechanics that are on planet right now, out there, is they're working with the dimensional ones as opposed to the harmonic ones. They're showing you this one and this one, but they're only working with the density 1 Merkabas. They're actually not using the top Merkaba from density 2. They're using the electrical density 1. You can spin that all you want to, but you're not going to make a six-dimensional Merkaba out of the two pieces of the three-dimensional Merkaba. So we're using the harmonic Merkabas. That's one of the things. If anybody asks you that happens to like those particular types of teachings, that's okay, let them. But just tell them, well, we're working with the bigger ones. Like it is, because there's just, I can tell you can handle it. You know, there's some Kathara classes, never hear any of the stuff you guys have heard. You know, you treat them like, you know, you're afraid they're going to go into like major judgment and freak out or something. You know that this information is important to them. You want them to be able to learn their Kathara Grid so they can get more of their consciousness in their body and stuff, and so they can help themselves. So you be very careful what you tell them. You guys, I didn't have to do that, and it's so fun to have a workshop with people like you. You have a question?
Yeah, on 11 2/3, 33 and 1/3. Why isn't it 11 and 1/4 and 33 and 3/4? Is it a mathematical division?
It's a mathematical, these are the ratios that Partakai phase at, like the core ratios, as far as energy thrust, how it's broken down. Okay? And you also have to understand, it will add up to 45. And this has to do with the 45-degree shift in angular rotation and particle spin between one harmonic and the next. You have a 90-degree shift of angular rotation and particle spin between dimensional bands, right? But what happens between harmonics? It's a half step. It's actually 90 degrees forward, 45 back, which gives you a 45-degree shift. So these mathematics are all coded in together, and the core template goes back to when Source first created the first vibrations, the Partakai, Partakay, and Partakam, formed on, that began the first spiraling momentum by interacting with each other. That's where these ratios are coming from. All right, so if you set the base Partakai phasing ratio the way it's supposed to be in the density 1 Merkaba, it'll trigger all the other ones to work the way they're supposed to also. It also has to do with, right now, what's happening. By running the Merkabas in reverse, we are becoming way too electrical. We're becoming much, much more dense. We're sucking particles in, and they're not being able to transmute because they're not being brought into their antiparticles where transmutation can occur, so the particles can go up to the next harmonic. So we're actually growing more and more dense and more electrical through this whole process. It's killing us, basically, but it's a slow death. It's like torture. And the sad part is we don't even know that we didn't even know it was there. Okay, what's next?
So the sheets takes 10 out of 10. So in a way,
Is it really? Boy. Okay.
So we're into the first of the new sheets, right?
Okay, I'm not going to go through it word by word then. Okay, all this stuff we can move through. I just talked about a lot of this anyway. Yeah, okay. I've just informed it's 10 after 10. That's scary with where I'm at with this. So what I'm going to do is... Well, let me have this. Please. Well, I need to see what it is.
I know you do.
You can see what... All right, this one... Basically, I already explained that. Yeah, I explained that one already. Okay. Okay. Here. I'm going to need that one. I'm not going to read the whole sequence. I'm trying to do shortcut here, because if I try to go through all these worded pages, like I'd like to, you're going to be here till next Tuesday. So, I'm going to try to describe some of these things from the diagrams that I drew. These are the, I don't know, did they get them yet, Monica? Did they get these handed out?
Still in boxes over there.
They're still in boxes. Okay. You can pick these up then on your way out. We're gonna go through the Akasha. We're gonna do the Akasha exercise tonight. Okay, because doesn't take a long time. It's explaining what it is that tends to take a long time. But I worked so hard to bring this to you. I don't want to just send you home with it on paper. That's no fun. Okay. Now, some of this other stuff, there's a lot of detailed stuff in here that talks about something called the radial body, which is a new part of the anatomy that wasn't in the earlier part of Kathara 1, but it fits right in. It's important, and it's so important that there's a lot of pieces to it. It could have been a workshop all on its own, just talking about radial body, but there's enough in the pages, if you're willing to read them, where you can get an idea of how important it is. When we're working with the Akasha code, which is a Vecca code, we're working with programming, radial body healing, which is even more powerful when combined with the others than any of the others alone. Okay, let's see, I think I can use that one. Yeah. I think I'm going to start with this one, even though that should be way later. Okay. Yeah. Sometimes time feels like it's my input density 4 into density 1, basically. It's like that when I'm translating it, too, where it's just amazing. Where does time go? It's like there's a time eater sitting on top of my computer or something, and time shouldn't be moving as fast as it is when I'm translating. So time can be an issue with me, but let's see. Okay, we're going to start.
I'm going to start with this one.
Okay, I'm going to show you just this bottom thing. It's something to think about. If you read these in sequence, it'll make, you'll be able to teach yourself, fill in the details. I want to get you to doing the stuff, doing the technique. And Vecca codes, to get from Merkaba to Vecca codes, I think there's about 15 pages. Okay, so we're not going to go through step-by-step 15 pages, because if I do that, we will be here forever, or at least for quite a while. Merkaba fields are the carriers of consciousness and the engines of energy by which physically manifest forms are created, maintained, and evolved through the holographic unified field of manifest space-time and matter. So we can just think of them as engines of energy and carriers of consciousness. That's what they do, and they're part of a larger system of energy transduction. And this is where I wanted to go to this one. Where'd that one go? The last transduction sequence. This one was the one why I was late this morning. You take the strip off the side. Take this off. The strip. Yes, please. It's coming back. Just getting the strip off the edge. And it comes off. Yeah. I'm starting to learn how to use the whatever in the Microsoft Word thing. It's not a fancy program, but at least it has some basic shapes and things you can use. The little stuff that's at the bottom that you can click up. I'm learning how to do it, so I don't have to do paste ups all the time, because we didn't have the ability to have major paste ups done this time. It's coming. Okay. Thank you. Now, this. Remember how I told you earlier, the transduction sequence? That there was a real easy version of it, right? That was in the beginning of Kathara 1. Well, this is filling out the version of it a bit. Now, first of all, we're talking about primal currents, and where they come in to enter into manifestation. This part up here is what it goes from the solar shields and the solar Merkaba fields down into the earth. First it goes through the earth, right? And then it comes back and it goes through the Kathara grid of the persons or the beings on the earth. And way over here, bless you, way over here, we have the person and the manifestation that comes on through it. So there's this whole sequence. The sequence goes like this. Primal life force currents go into the planetary Merkaba fields as particae. They form the Kathara grid, particae, particum. So they went from particae, which are not polarized, right? And that's in the planetary Merkaba field. It throws them into the personal Merkaba field. When it gets into the personal Kathara grid through that Bio-feed-Interface System, Planetary-Bio-feed-Interface System, when the energy comes up into your Kathara grid from the planet, it starts as particae. It converts in your Kathara grid to particae and particum, which means it begins to polarize. Okay, so in your Kathara grid level, you have your 3 levels of your Kathara grid. You have your Maharic Shield Divine Blueprint, which is part of your Crystal Shields grid, which is your level 2 Kathara grid. That's what these guys are. See, these symbolize, this is the planetary level ones. I'll talk about these first. This is your tribal shield. This one would be your Maharic shield, the next one in. This one would be your Turic shield, your Duratic shield, and your Telluric shield. These are the things that they're still made out of Particate and Particum units. There's a whole transmutation of energy units. They turn from one thing into another before they become electrons and protons and things like that. So I'm going to show you that after I show you this. I'm going to show you this little thing by which there's a vertical chart that I show you. It starts out as a Particate, becomes Particate and Particum, that becomes a Keylon, that becomes something else, that becomes something else, eventually it becomes matter out the bottom. But it's not really the bottom, it's a projection cycle. So, goes from primal life force currents to planetary Merkaba field as Particate. Kathara Grids as Particate and Particum. Maharic shield, part of Kathara Grids, equals, it's also Particate and Particum. Particate, Particum build up to form what? Keylons, right? Yeah. So you have the Keylon morphogenetic thought form field, the crystal body. The Earth has one, and so do we. So that's the crystal body. From there, the primal life force currents come through and keep going through, and they become, see, they don't just go through it, they become it. They take on that mathematical form. Just like right now, part of your consciousness is this mathematical form, the form that you have right now. Well, they literally become the Kathara Grid, then they become the imprint of the shields. The consciousness and the currents become the imprint of the crystal body. From the crystal body, they go into the Merkaba fields. This is where Merkaba fits. These things that are spiraling around your body and inside your body, they're helping the process of getting the energy that moved up to here in through here. So it's taking it from the morphogenetic field, the Keylon crystal body, into the next level, which is, in a biological form, the DNA template and axiom lines. So you're getting a conversion. The Merkaba field is actually taking and transducing energy for your body, for your being, from the morphogenetic thought form field that's made out of Keylon crystals. Taking Keylon crystals, so it's made of Keylon crystals, and is taking them and putting them over here into a specific arrangement. The arrangement come all the way through. The arrangement comes from the mathematical pattern that is held in each one of these Kathara centers. So that's telling it what mathematical coding is going to be carried into manifestation. Goes into the DNA template. Okay? From there it goes into axiom lines, which are the axi A tonal lines on this side, and on the parallel universe, the axi B tonal lines. Goes from there into the Hoover bodies. Remember, we have those spherical bodies around our bodies, and so does each level of the density levels. Like, it's not just people that have Hoover bodies. Remember those? Okay, so we have 3 levels of the Hoover bodies. We have the down here. We have the D1, D2, and D3 Hoover body level. If it was harmonic 2 Hoover body, it would be D4, D5, D6. So these are the 3 levels of the Hoover bodies. It goes from there into something that I'm not going to try to give the definition, because I'd have to go through 20 different pages to find out exactly where it is in a nutshell. But it goes from axial lines to Hoover bodies into the auric field, which is like part of the Hoover body field, into the chakras, into the meridian lines, which are smaller versions of the axion lines. Then it goes into something called the trion miage field of the radial body. The radial body is a part of the anatomy that exists here. Ignore that for a minute. And remember the Hoover bodies? And remember how Hoover bodies, you'll have one here, and then there's the magnetic repulsion zone between that and the next density level. Then there's another Hoover body. Well, there is like a tissue capsule of energy surrounding each Hoover body, and that's called a radial body. It's made out of units called trion units and miage units. Miage units are pre-sound units, and trion units are pre-light units. So in the process of the transduction process, you're still dealing with Keylons as you get through these levels, through axiotonal lines, through the DNA template, through axiotonal lines, into Hoover bodies. But when the energy begins to pass from Hoover body into the radial body, this is where it converts from being Keylons into being something different. It goes under another polarization type process. It actually depolarizes. It goes from being an electromagnetic Keylon into an electrostatic trion base. So it changes the type of particle that these things are made of. Actually change in this phase. They become trions and muons, which forms a trion pre-light, miage pre-sound field. Now these are the beginnings of where they make one more transition as they go through these things. We're down here, right? Goes to the radial body levels. The radial body, the reason it's so important to us is it's the holder of our memory matrix. It's the radial body that holds the programs, and if there's distortions in here, it holds them, amplifies them, and keeps projecting them out. I'll also show you another diagram in a minute that shows you where your mental body is in relation to this, and why thoughts are things, and why when we're tricked into believing a bunch of lies and nonsense about ourselves or our history, what it does to our radial bodies and what it does to the planet's radial body. You can literally, did you ever see the movie Matrix? I saw that and I left halfway through because it shook me up too much. Because what was happening there is what has happened here. Except we're not all wired someplace into things yet. But they would like us to be. All right? The radial body holds the key. There's a radial body, 5 levels of it. You have one around each of the 5 uva bodies, and then you have some more radial body levels going up into the sound fields. But the primary 5 radial bodies, they hold the key to the function of the rest of them. They hold the memory imprint. And what they do is energy comes through, leaves its imprint, circulates back, goes back through its imprint, and takes the imprint back and puts it in the template. So if you start out with one distortion here, and you don't fix it, at first it comes on the currents, comes in through all these things, hits the radial body, leaves a replica of itself, because that's what happens in the radial body. There's a replica of the original mathematical pattern left here as the particles move from being chelons, electromagnetic, into being trions and meons. The imprint gets left there as what's called a tile, a meage tile, which is made out of the pre-sound units, the meage units. That sound tile, or pre-sound tile, stays there even after the current with the mathematical pattern keeps going on through the DNA template, through into the body and out into the hologram. Once it gets out here, it comes back again. It reverses polarity. And the particles that it created to make the body and all this stuff reverse polarity, things like electrons turn into protons and vice versa and that kind of thing. They combine with their antiparticle. The thing disappears, whatever the manifestation is here, and comes back and starts going back through. It goes back through the point that it entered through in the radial body. So it goes back through the memory imprint, it picks up another dose of the memory imprint, puts the double dose of the mess back here. Meanwhile, while this one, current 1 is coming out, as it turns around, current 2 is released. This is how we get the illusion of moments passing one before the other. You have one pulse of life force current comes through, it gets out here into manifestation. As it's manifesting out here, another pulse begins being sent back here, back in to manifestation. And while this one starts to becoming, it starts to leave. It's leaving manifestation. This one is entering. There's an area here that I'll show you a graph in a minute that's called the Eros, E-I-R-O-S zone. It's the point where they simultaneously cross through the same point. The pulse that went out and is coming back now crosses through the point that's on its way in. They pick up, the new pulse coming in, picks up the imprint that was left by the original one, the original mathematical imprint. If that's distorted, this one takes it on into the future, leaves another program of it, and you build distortions. You build Mayan distortions here, which gets translated all the way back into making more Keylon distortions here that become more Mayan distortions here. It becomes a vicious cycle of miasmic building. And that's what's happened here. And the more that happens, the natural process that's supposed to happen is current 1 would come in here, do its thing, go out into the hologram, come back. It would intersect here, right here at this barrier between the Huva body's outer level and the beginning of the radial body. That's the Eros level. What's supposed to happen is, let's say this is moment 1, the pulse that makes moment 1 that you see, right? That comes in, leaves its mathematical program, you see moment 1. It begins to turn around. You're still seeing moment 1 because you're perceiving from here where the mental body is stationed. Okay, so right here there's supposed to be an intersection point where the old memory tile is supposed to be left stored here just so you have a memory, so you remember what your moments before were, which gives us the ability to remember continuity in time. But that new pulse coming in that's crossing through at the same point is supposed to pick up a transmuted pattern. The energy is not supposed to get left as miasmic buildup. It's an energy signature that gets left here. When the other pulse comes through, they're supposed to be, when this one comes through, it leaves its positive imprint. Like, let's pretend it's an upright triangle. That's the good one coming through. Turns around, and it brings its opposite, an upside-down triangle, back through. When the pulse 1 brings its upside-down triangle back through, and it intersects with the right side up triangle. It's particle and antiparticle. They meet, they fuse, they disappear, they transmute up to the next harmonic, they get out of here, they don't leave any buildup in the radial body, they only leave a memory imprint of the original moment that is a dormant imprint. And then the next moment would do the same thing. So you don't get a radial body that's building up meons and meons and meons, memories and memories upon layer of memories and memories and memories that aren't getting transmuted. When this happens, when it comes to the particle level, now the trion Miage field, which is this, the radial body, the Miage field is the inner layer, which would be the pre-sound layer, and the outer layer is the trion field. The trion Miage field of the 5 radial body levels, okay, you have your life force currents passing through there. Next, there's a series of radial lines. Where did I put these here? Radial lines. There's radial lines here that are going to take it from the radial body into the chemical DNA. Okay, so you have radial lines called radius. They're called radius, and the density 1 capsule is called the nadial capsule, and its thingies are called nadis. And there's different names for each of them. There's a chart in the pack that you're going to get that shows you the names of each of the Hoover body, radial body layers that go with them and the names of the things that go with them. Now, from the radius, it goes into, where am I here? Something called myon and dion, ionic particulates. Ionic particulates are the transition stage between what before was what science would consider not here yet energy, not manifest energy, and the beginning of particles or subatomic particles. These things are smaller than things like quarks and those kind of things. These are things like quarks and muons and those kind of things are built out of. These are little tiny things of subatomic units that scientists has named and identified. They don't know about myons and dions yet. Myons are base magnetic. That means they're made out of their core. They're made out of Keylons, like they have a Keylon program, but they've transmuted into myons. But if you take them backward into Keylons and take them backward, they would be particum. So base magnetic, they're based out on particum. Dions are the base electrical. They're based on particae. They are particae. They are also electromagnetic. So the current's changing here. It goes from electromagnetic to electrostatic in the radial bodies, goes back to electromagnetic, which is done through polarization. It means it's polarizing, coming back together, electrostatic, going out and polarizing again, repelling each other. So there's literally, the current is oscillating. It's an alternating current that's coming through. This is how, it sounds like a electrical diagram or something. Well, it is. This is the creation process, and it's taking place right through your bodies. The reason why these guys become such a pain, because they build up. In here, they build up in every level. But in here, this is where they make the transition from the radial body. They go through the radius lines. They turn into ionic particulates. Then they get involved with the strong and weak nuclear force, which is the forces that science has named to hold reality together here. They notice it in like atoms and things like that. It goes into electromagnetism, strong and weak nuclear force, which are 3 different types of forces that have been identified by scientists here. Then from there it goes into quarks and muons and mesons, bigger subatomic particles, then atomic particles and antiparticles. Then it goes into the blueprint translation, which started out as the blueprint back here, translates into nuclei, molecules, elements, compounds, chemicals, then into the chemical DNA and the chemical lens, because this body is a chemical lens. The DNA is a chemical lens, the projector through which your light of your consciousness shines the hologram out into reality. So any of the goop you got stuck here is going to go right into your chemical DNA. What's very interesting is your mental body is part of your Hoover bodies. Remember how we have the D1, D2, and D3 levels of each of the Hoover bodies? You have D4, 5, 6, the bass tone, overtone, resonant tone. Well, every D1, either D1, D4, all the bass tones have to do with the subatomic body structure. Like in density 2, D4 would be the same as D1 is down here. Now, D2 down here is our emotional elemental body, right? D5 in harmonic 2 would be our emotional elemental body in our harmonic 2 body. D3 down here is our electromagnetic mental body focus, our egotistical, rational, linear mind focus. That would be D6 in density 2. 1, 2, 3. Your mental body is right here. The eros is this intersection point between your mental body state. It's your mental body here. You also have your higher mental, your mid-mental body and your soul level, and your higher mental body in your oversoul level, and then your avatar mental body, etc. All right. This is the place where your free will comes into play. This is where your thoughts become things. You have these other things coming through your template that you put in there a long time ago and that are coming up from other places, but you have the choice of how to react to them. And how you react to them will set a pattern in here attached to the event, and that will add to its manifestation pattern. So if you react to things in ways that build fear, you will amplify the miasmic imprint. This is why you can also use thought. This is why if we enter symbol codes, mathematical programs from here, when we are doing the symbol code thing, we are adding the symbol code programs here from this state of consciousness into specific areas of the grid, and the life force currents are going to carry it right through, bring it into manifestation and circulate it back through and put it back in the template. Just like a miasm can make a mess out of your whole body system. The right mathematical codes put into the body and the right tones. When we put tones in, we're consciously choosing what tones to use. Same thing. We're restoring it here. So these miasms can begin to dissolve. This is the miasm, this X thing is making a mess in all the things. Now, miasms block energy. Oops.
Would Alzheimer's fall into the radial body there?
Yeah. Any type of mental issues would have to do with this zone here, and it would be an interplay between these as well. All right, right now on a planetary level, can we bring that down just a little bit? This way, thanks. I'm going to show the planetary one. Planets have radial bodies too. Now they don't have DNA exactly, but they do go through the stage of radial body and radius, and they go into myon and dion field, and what are loosely called the platonic solids, except there's not 5 platonic solids. There's actually supposed to be 12 when the chemicals are manifesting the right way. People have asked, where do the platonic solids fit into this thing? Well, here's where they fit, way up here. Okay? Way down here is the stuff that makes reality happen. This is the core stuff. And some teachings will teach you that these are the core building blocks of reality. These are the important things. These are the little guys that build on them. The programs are coming from back here. So, on a planetary level, planet has a mental body. We call it the atmosphere. All right? The atmosphere that we breathe is the mental body of the planet. What we see as solid, the rock, the molecules, the elements, that's the D2 emotional body of the planet. We are seeing as solid. We're perceiving it from here, from our D3 station of consciousness, seeing as solid, the hologram, one exact dimensional field below our state of consciousness. That's why as our DNA activates and our state of consciousness moves and integrates the higher ones, we begin to see other reality spaces as 3D manifest. Okay? This would be the subatomic base, and the platonic solid base would be associated with D1. These are the templates for these to manifest on. But the planet has this too, and the planet has a radial body. The radial body holds the memory imprint, the memory matrix, be it for a person or a planet or a galaxy. If you put distorted patterns in here, what you're doing is feeding in false memory. You can hijack a planet or a race or a person by messing with their radial body level. And that's precisely what the checkerboard matrix DNA mutation has done. It created a mutation way back on this level in the planetary grids. That mutation filtered through all the planetary shields, all the planetary stuff, planetary Merkabas, all the way through here, planetary radial body, and at the point where it's time for these currents to plug, the primal life force currents to move through all that mess, come back into each individual, it's taking that same false memory matrix and putting it here. The memory matrix that has been falsely downloaded into Earth's grids is the Nibiruan memory matrix. They made a false link between the Merkaba fields here on Earth and a planet called Nibiru that at this point in time circulates between the phantom matrix system and this time matrix on a reverse elliptical orbit. It used to be part of this system. So that we get into that in the Templar course. But what we're dealing with is if the planet's memory banks are all messed up, so will be the memory banks of the life forms on that planet. The radial body, just like anything else, is part of the transmutation process. If you want your Merkaba to activate the right way, you need your radial body to hold the proper coding that it originally had in its divine blueprint. Our radial bodies are a total mess because of what's been done in the planetary grids. Now, there's a salvation to the radial bodies. It's called the Vecca codes. They're the codes of the radial bodies. There are sets of Vecca codes. And let me see, I'm going to find the thing on Vecca codes here to show you. Because I want to get, I know it's getting late and I can't go through half as much as I'd like to. Okay, no, there's a sheet on Vecca codes that I wanted to talk, where Vecca codes begin, where the information on Vecca codes begins. Let me see this. Can you hold this for a sec, please?
Yeah.
Thank you. There's one sheet I want to find that will, if I can read that to you, that'll get right across very quickly what Vecca codes are, and then we can get into using them. That's not what I'm looking for. Okay, this. Okay, that one we're going to do. This is the one we're going to go into, but that's not what I'm doing yet. We're going to show them those. There's one I'm looking for that has text on Vecca codes that lists the codes. I'm not sure where it is. Oh well. Okay, I don't think it's in those. I think it's probably in these. We're not on break, honest. Okay, all right. Now here, are these numbered right? Okay, if you could find me this sequence. This is the first one, 273. Can you get like 74, 75, 76 lined up for me, please? I'm just going to hit little bits of things on these, okay? Thank you. All right. Thank you. Yeah, because it should be just the sequence right after these. It would be fine. Okay. Now, I'm not going to read all of this, or we'll be here forever. But radial body healing, the Vecca codes, DNA, and Merkaba, they all go together. Here we go. This thing drives me wacky. Here we go. Okay. The Vecca codes, they're also called the IM, or I can't even pronounce this, Imanyana sequence, are very specific symbol codes, each possessing corresponding sound tones called arias and energy movements called suryas, which correspond to the cosmic, universal, galactic, planetary, and personal trion Miage field radial body levels. So they are the mathematical codes that hold the radial bodies intact in the divine blueprint. Okay? There are 5 categories of Vecca codes. The planetary low Vecca codes, they're called the codes of Manu. Did you ever hear the Manu force? This is what they're talking about. There are some metaphysical teachings that talk about it, but in a very different context, as usual. They personify it a little too much. Okay, so we have the planetary low Vecca codes, called the codes of Manu. These correspond with the lower dimensional fields. You have the galactic mid-Vecca codes, the codes of Imanu. You have the universal level 1 high Vecca codes, the codes of Emmanuel. Okay. Then you have the cosmic level 2 high Vecca codes, the codes of Imanyana, and the God Seed Unisi codes of the Akasha. Now, if you remember the 15-dimensional matrix and how you have like all those high currents up here and they work lower, these guys here would be, these lower ones here, would be the Kundalini ones. And these would work up into the Maharata ones, and these would work up into the Kirishe and the Kundare, and finally, the link between the Akasha. These codes are different than the codes that say each dimension also has a mathematical symbol code that goes with it. But these are actually the codes that link between. You have a Huva body, and then there's a link between that and the next one. These are the ones that hold the frequencies that link between them, which means they have the abilities to open the radial bodies to each other, and to open the dimensional fields and the densities to each other. They're the most powerful set of mathematical codings available in the time matrix. They are being given to us now all at once. In fact, we didn't know what they were when they started giving them to us. They said, here, use this way, right? Okay. Yeah, I mean, we trust them. We know, they know what they're doing. We'll get it later. But now we finally are learning what the Vecca codes do, okay? Beginning applications of Vecca code radial body healing begin with restoring the trion Miage field radial body through resetting the Unisi, Akasha, and High Vecca, Immanyanus, and Emmanuel codes through frequent manual direct induction of their corresponding symbol codes, sound tones, and arias. And eventually we'll get into the suryas in the Dance of Life program. Okay? The most powerful Unisi Akasha codes are called photosonic codes. They carry the mathematical programs of the Kundare current primal sound, Miage field, and their bridging God seed vibration rhythms connecting to source. The level 2 Immanu and level 1 Emmanuel high Vecca codes are photoradionic codes, which is a little different than photosonic. You can look at it as photo sound, photo light, okay? Carrying the mathematical programs, the Trion Miasfield Kundere primal sound, and the Kirashe primal light currents. So they're just telling you something a little bit about what they're carrying. Consistent use of the Vecca code radial body healing in combination with Merkabik and Kathara healing applications will progressively clear the miasmic body and heal, balance, reintegrate, and restore the divine blueprint within the energies of the phantom shadow self in all levels of the mind-body-spirit system. This means if you work with the radial body codes to clear your radial body while you're working with Kathara, running D12 current, and while you're doing things like salutations to get your Merkabas holding the right spin, you will be able to progressively transmute that shadow self that's made out of miasms, that whole Kathara grid that's running in reverse that's a part of your Kathara grid that shouldn't be. You will be able to progressively reverse that and eventually keep it reversed. They're extremely powerful codes. Okay, let's see. These are the ones that will activate your fingertip vortices. Let's see. I don't know if I have to read all of this. More advanced applications of Vecca code technology. Okay, they're saying more advanced applications of the Vecca code technologies will include the use of the mid-Vecca Imano and the low-Vecca Mano codes and the corresponding Suriyas, the body movements. But they're going to be in the Dance of Life program. For now, what we're going to do is begin the process of using the Akasha code and in 5 of the other high Vecca codes. They were the ones they were given. We're actually giving them working one up through the Akasha, and now we're going to work them backward. I want to show you what these look like. Some of them are absolutely beautiful, and I understand why now that I spent years wanting to be an artist, and I did. I was a portrait artist for a while and things like that. Because if it came to this and I couldn't draw them, I would have been in trouble. What's the next one? What's the next
I don't know what the next one is.
274, honey. 274, please. Look on the bottom. Okay. This is 274.
You found the original sequence. I'm trying to find the actual numbers again because they've all been
That's what I
muddled up.
asked you to do. I asked you to find the 274. It should be in here somewhere. We can go right into the codes, actually.
So what you actually gave me were these numbers here. Which I've been setting out, right?
It was in the pile I handed you. Okay. Now, I need the other half of the exercises of these, though. This is one of them. No, it isn't. Okay. Can you please find numerically the other half of these? I'm going to show you first the high Veccas. Now, these... Oh, wait a minute. Get dyslexic on this. Now, it goes this way and that way, right? Nope. This is a riot. Get totally dyslexic. Got my hologram upside down. All right, I'm going to have to show you these in parts. These little guys down here are the codes of Emmanuel. You have the bivecca and the trivecca codes. There are certain areas of the body that these go on. All right? The way we induce these is they correspond to very specific seals and portions of the dyadic grid, and we put them over the body area that they correspond to and use frequency to draw them in to the dyadic grid. Now, when we get to the Akasha code, it's really fun the way we induce that. It's optical pineal induction, where we actually bring it in through the eye currents, and we cross them to amplify the current and bring it into the pineal. So we get to sit there and look at it and cross our eyes and bring it through that way. It's like, and I was told that there are actually 12 different eye positions as far as how, when you cross, if you look at an image, especially one of these, you get them crossed, and okay, you got 2 images, right? Well, if you move them a little bit different cross, you get a whole different image. You get different mathematical levels of the whole program. There are 12 different eye muscle positions that, if you get really good at this stuff, you can find them and progressively imbue them and get all of the mathematics from the code. But we start with just being able to see it, and then being able to double the vision a little bit and make it come double, where you see 2 of them. All right. Now these, you have bivecca, trivecca, Q-Vecca, Da-Vecca, and Ra-Vecca. They're the high Veccas. And then there's the Akasha code, and I absolutely love this one. And they each have tones. If you notice, there are tones with them. These tones would be used when you were using the induction process. And we have 2 processes. We have clearing the radial body with the photoradionic level, where you're using those codes, the 5 high Veccas. And then this one is the Akasha. the Crown Vecca code. And we're getting like, these were, hand drawn. We're going to get these where they're, perfectly drawn, but they're true enough mathematically. They're carrying the mathematics. All right, so we also are just getting, we met some people in Peru that make really beautiful silver jewelry, and we're starting to get them made, like to be able to hang, for like necklaces and things like that, to hold the code right on the chakras. Yeah, and we're getting symbol cards made. This was just given to us in Peru, and we just recently got back from there. I'm like at a time warp. When did we get back from Peru? January. Yeah. If somebody knows. Yeah. I'm terrible with time. When I get on a roll especially, I have no clue. Ask me how old I am, and I have to like really stop and think. Okay, anyway, this is the Akasha code. This is the one we're going to use we can use tonight. And I was going to use this, but you said the things aren't handed out yet, are they? They need to look at them. And I don't know if that's close enough to do it. Yeah, I think since everybody's got to get their things, we're going to pass out these things to put in your booklets. Do they fit in? Did they get them hole punched the right way where they fit in the binders? Do you know?
They've been hole punched.
But do they fit in the binders like the Mylars don't? Okay, I hope so. Anyway, you're going to get your packet of information now, because in it you'll have one of these. So when we run the exercise, this you can look at, but I think this is a little too far away to get the effect that you're supposed to get with the mathematics. So we'll start with where you can go to the page that it's on, which will be, what page is this? You cut the number off.
I think it's 280.
Yeah, you're right, it's 280. It's 280, but it looks like they might have cut the number off the page. The Kinkos, they drive me nuts when they do that. I can never find anything. Now, this goes with Technique 11, I believe. Did we find Technique 11?
Take it up.
Is that it? Yeah, okay. Technique 11 is not difficult. It's not going to take you 40 minutes. Now, the technique 10 tells you how to use the other 5 Veckas. Technique 11 teaches you how to use the Akasha. We're going to do the Akasha now. We can't do the other 5 ones because it would take forever, because part of what inducing those is, you don't have to do this with the Akasha, but with the other ones, you need to put the image of the symbol over specific body areas. You need to put the whole sequence on you, which when you take your papers home, what you can do if you want to run that exercise, which I suggest doing, because this will amplify the heck out of everything you're trying to work, everything you're trying to accomplish. You can get it the paper that has the symbol codes, the 5 symbol codes that I had up there a minute ago. You can take that and get it shrunk down, have it reduced on a photocopier to where they're small enough where you can sit them over a chakra area. Or you could get, I don't know if we have any left, but for the round table people, the people that like to do that are involved with the round tables, we actually had stampers made, because they're really hard. Some of them are very intricate, and if you try to draw them and you get the lines wrong at all, you'll change the mathematics. It'll mean something different mathematically, and it won't do what you're trying to do with it. So we have stampers with stamp pads. I don't know if we have any left. We might have a few. We only brought a few. We weren't planning really to sell them. Okay, they're like this, and there's a few that are bigger. With the bigger codes, they're actually a bit bigger. And you can use them really with invisible ink. The idea is to get them on the chakra area, or the area that it tells you, like the corresponding body area, so you can induce them all at once. If you sit there and try to draw them, good luck. It was hard enough for me to draw them the first time. But if you don't want to do the stampers, I'm not saying you have to buy stampers. You can take the paper that you have and make a photocopy, shrink it down to where they're a manageable size, and cut them out and stick them, just face up. You put the paper face up on your, over your chakras. Now the chakra areas for Technique 10, it tells you where to put them. And Technique 10, which is on page 277, thank you. Technique 10 tells you what to do with itself and what to do with the codes. It's a real simple one. There's 2 parts to the exercise. Now, Technique 11 was the one they just gave us today. They ran this spontaneously with us in Peru at a major round table, and that was the first we heard of it. For this one, we can do it today because we don't have to worry about putting 5 codes all over our bodies before we're here any longer than we have to be. Because if we try to run Technique 10, we're going to have to figure out, I don't think we even have a full set of the codes. We don't have the Akasha even on a stamp yet. So you can do the paper version of it when you get home if you want to, shrink them down and use, for Technique 10, you can use the 5 symbol codes that go with Technique 10 on paper if you want to, or if you want to order from Azurite Temple, you can order the stampers if you feel like you're going to use them frequently. It's worth it. Yeah, we also have color cards, which they're like refined drawings of them with the proper color frequencies with them, and they're laminated cards, so we have a set of those too that are very good. You can lay the card on like the chakra area that you're using. You can also use them for the optical pineal induction. But what we're going to do here, before we leave, there's 2 things. I can feel it's getting late, and I'm not. Yeah, right. And I'm not going to keep you here forever. I think I told you enough about Merkaba where you can pick the rest up in the material you have here. There's a huge amount of data in what you've just been handed as far as filling in the blanks. All right. What's important is to get you running the codes, to walk you through one of these exercises so you can see. This one's real easy. Okay? You mind reading this one, though?
What?
Would you read this one?
Read it.
Yeah. Yeah. Now remember, this is the one where we're using this code, the Akasha code. And in this exercise, you're going to be asked to use at a certain point. It's called the ruche. It's the center area. See this area over here? Can you guys see that over there? This here area. This area here. Okay, see there's a drawing of it here too. That's a little squiggly drawing of it, but it means this here. That's called the core of the Akasha core. There are times when you will induce the whole thing, but then you'll use this as the directive, the mathematical program of there. And so it's part of the same code, but after a while of using this one, you'll be able to use this and it'll mean the same thing. And you don't have to remember so much of it. So there'll be a time in this exercise where it'll ask you to use the ruche instead of the whole Akasha. So just know that that's that little pattern there. So when you're moving your vision into focus and they say look at the ruche, you're going to focus your eyes on that. Okay? Here you go.
Okie dokes then, people. So technique 11 is storing the Miage field photosonic healing technique. Your Maharic seals are activated, so we don't have to worry about that right now. So we begin by staring at the Akasha codes for a few seconds. Try to embrace as much of the whole image as you can, so don't hold it too close to your face. Try and adjust the optical distance so that you can naturally and comfortably engage as much of the symbol as you can. It's pretty intense and it'll probably be difficult to do that successfully immediately, but that's the idea. A few more seconds of holding that in the correct sort of focal point and focus for yourself. And then I want you to gently experiment with crossing your eyes. Just cross them and uncross them. Take just a split second break, cross them again. And gradually work to build up a focus, a cross-eyed focus, in which you're seeing a double image of the Akasha. The reason why I'm telling you to allow yourself to cross your eyes and uncross them and cross them again is just to exercise your muscles a little bit, because you need to hold this eyes crossed focus as well as you're able to. In a moment I'm going to ask you to try and hold whatever eyes crossed you're managing to have at the moment while taking 3 rapid breaths, okay? Just try a couple more times and try and hold it, the eyes crossed position. So in a second we'll take 3 rapid breaths, but on each out breath you'll project a stream of indigo current from your 6th chakra at your forehead. And this will assist in carrying the Akasha program into the pineal seals. So draw Maharic frequency. Project a stream of indigo current from your 6th chakra. Inhale, draw frequency once more, and exhale D6 indigo current from your 3rd eye again. One more inhale and one more exhale. Uncross your eyes when you've done. Relax your visual focus and just rest your eyes for a moment or two. Didn't you hear me? I did.
To tell them what it did. Okay.
Next, we'll inhale several breaths of pale silver D12 Maharaja current up from the earth core through your Maharic cord, and on each exhale, depositing the Maharaja current in the pineal gland at the center of the brain to form a pale silver ball of Maharaja at the pineal. So several deep drawing breaths. Pull pale silver D12 Maharaja current up from the earth core, up through your Maharic cord. And on each out breath, deposit that frequency in the pineal at the center of your brain. Repeat this several times to form a ball of pale silver frequency, a Maharaja ball. Let's take a couple more. Now breathe easy and return your visual focus to the image of the Akasha, but this time focusing upon the Akasha core, the ruche, that's the double circles, and their content at the center of the Akasha. Now draw a breath, and on the exhale, project a stream of indigo current from the 6th chakra into the ruche symbol. Inhale while drawing the indigo current stream with the ruche image at its end back through the 6th chakra and into the Maharaja ball at the pineal. So inhale, draw the indigo current stream with the ruche image attached to it back through the 6th chakra and into the Maharaja ball at the pineal. Now inhale one more breath of Maharaja current up from the earth core to the Maharaja ball at the pineal, and use a forceful exhale to push Akasha ruche encoded Maharaja ball out to the right, to the mental position over your right shoulder. Inhale, exhale, forcefully push the Akasha ruche out to the mentor over the right shoulder. Visualize the Maharaja ball growing to the size of a basketball over the right shoulder, and visualize the image of the ruche as expanding to fill the inside of the Maharaja ball. Now inhale very forcefully while drawing the Maharaja ball back to a position centered around your head. Then use 3 breaths to inhale Maharaja current up from the earth's core to the pineal. 3 breaths, draw them 3 times. Draw and draw and draw. And then exhale the Maharaja current outward to fill and expand the Maharaja ball. Visualize the Maharaja ball expanding outward from around your head until the ball fully encompasses your body and entire chakra system, from chakra 14, 36 inches above your head, to chakra 13 in the earth core. Imagine that your entire body is now surrounded by a three-dimensional Akasha teardrop-shaped clear crystal capsule. The Akasha Code photosonic capsule is now temporarily activated in your inner Templar system.
Okay, now this induction of the Akasha Code is recommended to do it every day. Because the more you do it, the more you're going to bring that mathematical program in. The most powerful times to do it are in combination with salutations. And I know everybody's probably getting very tired at this point, but I'm determined that we're going to dance before we go because it feels good. And it's like I would feel like you got gypped if we didn't get to do a salutation. If you don't want to, you don't have to. Like anybody that doesn't want to doesn't have to. But I would like us to, there's two things, there's two techniques left that I would like to do. The one's real fast because it's a song. It's my favorite song in the universe right now. It's one of I find it very, very beautiful. It's called the Song of Lyra. Do we have that in writing there somewhere? Is that written?
Yeah.
You know where, honey?
Pardon me?
Do you know where it is written?
I knew we were going to do it before we left.
Right. So we're going to do first, and this is technique 13. It's in your books as technique 13. This is the song I told you about yesterday that's very, very powerful, and the more you use it, it just really brings in frequency. It's the Christos invocation song. You are using your power as a face of God to invoke the D12 Christos Ray Divine Blueprint right here, right now. And there's a power to it. It's not in, you're using your connection as source to source. Not to use it in any way to cause any harm, but this is it's a wonderful thing to use just for general activation, just to feel the presence of your Christos with you. It will bring that in with you more and more. The more you work with this song, the more it will bring the presence. You begin to feel your avatar you. You begin to feel like you know more than you thought you did. You begin to discover your greatness. And I have felt those frequencies with this song more than anything else, like as far as immediately, that you don't have to work with 500 times before you start to really feel something. I really felt it with this. I hope you have the same experience. It's also a very beautiful song. It would sound much prettier when I sang it to you if my voice wasn't having a real problem tonight, but I will do my best. All right? The words that go with it. This one, we have the translation. This is the Anahazi language again, and this is the translation into English, or the closest translation into English that you can get. So you have, as well, you have what it means. You know, so you're not just singing, what am I singing? What am I invoking? It's the good stuff you're invoking. There's a point where it comes over here where you'd put your name. You'd actually sing your name there. Okay, so if we sing the song together, you can try to sing it with me if you like. I'll sing it through once so you can hear what it sounds like. Then we'll slow it down. Because there's a lot of sound tones to learn there, new word, sound combinations, and it goes quite rapidly when you use it. So I want you to hear it the way it's usually done, and then we'll slow it down, and you can do it. We can all do it together. So you just get a feeling of how to say the words. So when you go home, you can play with it. And what I'd like to do is, after we do this and get this running in our bodies, it would be a good time where we could stand up, push our chairs back a bit, and on our way, as we're getting ready to go out, we're not quite going out yet, we'll do a salutation on the way out. How does that sound? Okay? Because instead of just like saying, okay, well, it's getting late, I'm afraid to look at the clock right now, to be honest with you. And you're still here, bless you. I really appreciate that. But I would like it if you would stay long enough that after we get this running, we'll do then finally the salutation. So you know what it feels like to begin the process of manually starting your Merkaba field in the Christos rotation. Magical ways. So we'll sing this, and then if you're still with us, I don't know, I'm almost not with us anymore. I'm so tired. Are you guys tired too? Yeah. No? Bless you. I bet you slept last night. Okay. All right.
More than you know.
Okay. The words are these. They're Maharata Kumbhaivektas, and here's where you'd say your name, right? And my name's Ashana Tu. I actually sing it with I have a TU at the end of my name. That's part of my spiritual name that I only use when I'm talking to myself and my avatar up there. Okay. In Evukai un Iblium Bhaivektai, Ma'a Bhaivektai,
un ure ornem ur. Iste unte isa trajda heera, patate a ashelam tra age inte dore, shaddai ore achum tung. Remember, shaddai ore achum tung. That one? That's the end line. Okay? Now, it's a real pretty melody to it too, but I won't do it too much justice right now. You want to sing it with me, or should I? You'll all get a chance to sing it together. I was just asking my twin here if he'd like to join me. Well, so see, when you're singing with a group of people, you sing your name and they're going to sing theirs. So it all sounds kind of funny, right, at that point, because everybody's singing their own name there. Okay? Okay. Yes. I'm looking at it up here. Are you? Yeah, are you? You have what you need?
I'll sing over your shoulder.
You sing over my shoulder, okay. Yes. Maharaja Kumbai Vectors Ashana tu Inevukai Uniblium by Vectai Maha by Vectai Un ure ornem ur Iste unte isa trajda hera Patate uma ashelam tra age inte dore shaddai ure akum tan shaddai ure akum tan shaddai ure akum tan. Okay, I'll try it one more now that we got the words almost down. You can build this. This is a building song. All right, when you get this going, you start to feel the frequency come in. This is the most powerful tonal grid I've felt so far that they've given. What do you think about it? Do you like the melody? Okay. You want to try it slow, a little bit slower? Anybody? Yes? No? Maybe? Okay. See, there's a statement you're making. That's why there's an intensity with some parts of it. Like when you say here, Maharada Kumbai Vectas Ashana tu Inevukai Uniblium by Vectai. See, there's a whole. You're saying something to the universe. You're asking. You're saying, co-create with me. And there is a great love vibration in this song when you begin to get the intonations. Maharaja Kumbai Vectas Ashana tu Inevukai Uniblium by Vectai Ma'a by Vectai Un ure onam ur Iste unte ista trajda hera Patate uma ashelam traje inte dore shaddai ure akum tan shaddai ure akum tan shaddai ure akum tan. There's a whole emotional body thing that happens with this when you start to really move with it. So I would hope that you could groove on this song and you could like learn the words. It helps where you literally sit there. We sat there on the couch and went Maharata. Okay, Maharata. What was the other one? Kumbai Vectas. Right? That's how we did it. That's how we learned it. It didn't just come bang. We knew it. You know, we had to work with it once it came through in the translations. So if you don't get it right at first, it's because I haven't met anybody who could. Okay, now that activates temporarily again. It kicks open your Maharic seal. Especially if you've ever run a Maharic seal one time, when you run this song, it will actually temporarily kick it up. Again, it'll pop your seal up. But it won't stay up unless you continue to energize it consciously with the breath for a bit. But this is why if you just run this, and actually, like, you know, say it with conviction, say it with some conviction, where you feel the frequency, you'll begin to feel frequency running. It's an intense, it's almost like a burst of frequency that comes through, and that's your pillar popping up that you're feeling. Okay? Now, last but not least, you want to do it again? I don't know. You do want to do it. I wasn't sure. It was kind of like something like, you know. I don't want to inflict it on you. Okay, good. I love this. Okay.
On three, we're just going for it.
Okay.
Just do all this, okay?
1, 2, 3. Maharaja Kumbai Vectas Ashana tu Evukai Uniblium by Vectai
kick into harmonies and stuff. This sounds awesome when you get a group doing. Just start going into overtone harmonies and those kind of things. It's powerful, guys. I can feel that, like the power. It comes off in waves. I can feel like when we do sound tone work, and this is the one I feel it most with so far, even more than the Omeda. This one's even more powerful. You can feel there's like a ripple effect coming off. Like I'm feeling it up here. Are you feeling it at all? Where it's almost like the sound wave is going boom, 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 and it's building from the back of the room to the front, and it's moving through us. I can actually feel it up here. And that reminds me of the good old days when we used to be able to project sound waves and make, like, 2,000-ton blocks go up hills or across oceans and things. Okay. Is there anything that I have to say before we go into salutation?
Yes.
What?
Thank you for coming.
Well, aside from that, I know that.
Especially the three terrible twins. The trio that have shepherded us around and made everything.
Oh, bless
right,
them.
Fixed everything that got you to come.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Monica, Alexis, and Cicely, thank you very, very much for inviting us here. We're going to close, but I kind of want to close it where we'll do the salutation, and then we can kind of keep rotating on out the door kind of thing, where you don't have to worry about sitting down and listening to me talking at you again. Okay? I just wanted to let you know that the Templar workshop that's next weekend, I don't know who's coming and who's not, but even if you're not interested in Stargates, and even if you're not interested in planetary grid work, we are going to be covering some stuff that has to do with understanding the drama we're in the middle of it right now, how it got this way, what this has to do with what we might be seeing in the next several years. They're very practical concerns. We'll learn about history and we'll learn about planetary grid mechanics, but we're going to learn about what trigger event just happened in the United States, what it was a trigger for, and what plan it was a part of, a plan that's unfolding now that involves all of us. So if you're not interested in just doing Stargate work, I want you to know that there's more to that workshop than just learning how to play with Stargates. So I hope, I wish you'd all come, because we'd have a good time together. We've had such a wonderful time with you. You were so awake and aware before we ever stepped in the door. It was wonderful. You've gotten like a Kathara workshop like nobody has received, because I was able to talk with you and not worry about you going into judgment or going into what we call little hissy fits and those kind of things. That sometimes immature people that think they know it all find a challenging idea. Instead of saying, can I learn something from that? They go into attack. I've had audiences that were like that. And it's very hard to try to help them get to the point where they might learn something that they could help themselves with. You guys, I didn't have to do that with, and I thank you hugely. You're wonderful, wonderful people. And it's been a pleasure to be with you.
Put the right spin in, you take the wrong spin out. You do the Christmas smoker button, shake it all around. So, we're going to do a lunar salutation. Now, in any salutation, it's a case of getting your spin direction right according to the time of day you're doing it. Okay? We're doing a lunar salutation, which is the female end of things, and the direction of rotation is this way. Anti, or as you say in American counterclockwise, this way. All right. So what goes through this way is the suffix tone which is easy to remember because it's female, right? Indoors. Just live with the English. Yeah, indoors. There are little ways of remembering at this stage. I did come up with something quite ridiculous in Hawaii. I can't remember where I went. It was a kind of a put down on guys. It's something about guys being right, rotation direction, in the morning. It's shocking. Oh yes, electrical. Shocking that guys are right in the morning. Or something like that. But make them up. But anyway, we're talking about, I guess it this way. So, and then that's when I ask you to start, you begin to build up the tone and try and create a little melody, try and create a relationship with yourself rather than going, as I did to begin with, it's all sort of ridiculous. But try and develop, I'm just a guy who knows it. So develop it. Now we build it up like we have done already, so you know what to do brilliantly well. Okay, then I'll ask you to sort of come down gently again. So you come to a standstill very slowly, all right? Not too fast because you probably fall over. And then we do 3 rounds of the one line, Shadare, 2 times. And now I'll say reverse spin. Okay, and what we do then is we spin in the male direction to finish. All right, in the mornings you start with the male direction, finish with the female one. In the evenings you start with the female one and finish with the male one. And doing the rotation in this direction, and the male suffix, which is ra, and try and vary it.
That's right.
Now, to finish a salutation correctly, what you would do is to sing 3-4 rounds of the Almeida whilst you follow the rotational direction you began with. So this evening we're doing female, so we'd actually use the original, the first cycle of rotation this way round, and we'd sing the Almeida whilst doing a little ceremonial circle this way. Having done 3, we then slow down and reverse and do 3 more verses of the Almeida to finish. And that's basically the 4 components of the salutation. All right.
And what you're going to do with this is you're making that Merkaba that right now is trying to spin on the Christos spin because you're running D12, but the planetary grids are making it go in the wrong way. You're going to go boom like a hula hoop and get it spinning in the right direction. And you're going to do the same with the top one. And this, remember, goes into your DNA template, your Kathara grid. This is called Merkabic healing. It's the beginning of Merkabic healing. Okay.
Excellent. Now, one other thing. Whilst we do this, we're correcting the spin rate. As you grow more comfortable and accustomed to concentrate on the simple things you have to do, like spinning and making the noise, you'll remind your Merkaba that you want the spin speed to be, in the case of 11 2/3. In the case of Ra, 33 1/3. So whilst you're toning, you just project the mental intention. Just now and again remember that this is the speed you want it to move at, 11 2/3. And think 11 2/3 while you're toning. So once you've got the tone rolling and building up, just take a couple of seconds out and go, yeah, all right, 11 2/3, 11
I used to
2/3.
sing it. I used to go 11
Yeah,
2/3.
and you can sing it out loud if you want to. You can alternate between the tone and the the speed. But do it either way, whichever's comfortable. So, on 3 we'll go. Now, if you need to, just go steadily, please. I mean, it's a hard floor, we don't want any casualties. Use your thumb, if you need to. There's a trick that the Shannon introduced, which is used on Broadway and other places when dancers are training. Apparently, it helps to stop you from falling over. Okay?
The world goes by, but your focus stays fixed so you don't get dizzy. And
1,
hold it closer so you can
2, 3.
You don't need the thumb, you don't have to use it. But
increase the speed of the rotation a little bit. Don't stop. I want a little bit more from you. More volume. Good. Good. Okay, gently slow down. Gently slow down. Bring the tone down gracefully. Don't drop it. Bring the tone down gracefully. Don't drop it. It's like a baby. Don't drop it. Slowly, 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 slowly. slowly and gracefully. Look after the tone as you bring it down. And yourself. Gently.
That one gets it going even more in the head, doesn't it? Urban's kind of going like this.
Okay, 3 full rounds of the Omeda, both verses. And just stand still. That was quite intense for some people, so just be still. Okay, away we go. Omeda ipatuma, Omeda ipatuma, patuma edita ekuna, Omeda ipatuma, tretila idarana, tretila idarana, dharamai kenta efuna, Omeda ipatuma. A little bit quicker. Omeda ipatuma, Omeda ipatuma, patuma edita ekuna, Omeda ipatuma, tretila idarana, tretila idarana, dharana ekuna ekuna, Omeda ipatuma. Really quicker. Omega ipatuma, Omega ipatuma, patuma ekuna ekuna, Omega ipatuma, Omega ipatuma, Omega ipatuma, tretila idarana, tretila idarana, dharana ekuna ekuna, Omega ipatuma.
Let's do that again.
You're too fast.
That, ladies and gentlemen, was a lunar salutation. Thank you.
Okay.
That's okay.
Anyway, that was the beginning of learning Maharic healing. What you've managed to do is you should get several hours out of your Merkabas actually spinning in the right rotation now. And if you start to feel funny, that's because your body's so used to it spinning in the wrong rotation. It'll stabilize and it'll balance out if you feel funny. If you went too fast, you'll feel funny too. We've had people, unfortunately, kind of go really fast in the beginning when they never did it before because it seems like it's simple. And they really got dizzy and actually fell down because you had to do loops afterwards, especially with the electrical one. Because it literally gets the electrical fields around your head and in your head going shoo, 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 shoo. I got mine going pretty fast that time and I stopped and kind of went, oh boy. Like, if people knew the states you could reach with just organic energy running, there'd never be a drug problem in the world. You don't need that stuff. You know? Yeah, you can get out there without it. Yeah. Okay. Now, the salutations and the Vecca code inductions and the running of at least the Maharic quick seal, which I believe is technique 6 in the books you have. It's a quick version of running the Maharic seal, so it happens fast. and it becomes an insta-seal after a while. If you would do those 3 things every day, every second day, even every third day, within a year, you would have a whole lot more of yourself in body. And you'd know a whole lot more now, because your body and your higher self would start teaching you things. These are some of the core programs to begin working with. We're bringing Dance of Life out in March. There's a whole series of other codes, the mid-Vekas and the low Vekas, that are important too, because they work with the lower bodies that we're trying to heal right now. And there's also the Suriyas, which are physical exercises. So they not only will affect the energy systems, but they will affect your bodies directly too. So there are, I mean, even a person in a wheelchair can do some of them. So it's not something that you have to be like, in training for 6 months to be able to do. But this is a program of daily life skills, master's life skills. What did breatharians do to stay breatharians? This is the stuff they did to make their systems work. So it's the beginning of a journey that literally can lead to, if you want it to, great life changes. What's at the end of that journey? All sorts of things. Possibly walking through a portal and finding out we've never been alone on this planet, we only thought we were. If you got your Merkaba working, that's a potential for you. If you don't have your Merkaba working, it's not a potential at all. So, there's a lot of things that it makes it worth doing weird stuff like spinning in circles and singing songs. I mean, there's a part of us that's been told, oh, to look at that, how weird. It sounds like a revivalist group or something. You know what I mean? As we get going. Yeah? But there is a sacred beauty to the tones that we're running and the purpose that we're running it for. So if we can get past the culturally programmed embarrassment factors of we're doing something different than what we're taught is what we're supposed to be doing, that's why we might feel embarrassing. I hope you'll stick with it. I hope you'll work with it, because I think you will create great results for yourselves. And I think, is that all?
Bless you, and good night. We look forward to seeing as many of you as you come next weekend.
Thank you for staying late. I appreciate it.
Hey, can everybody stick around for a second? Do you mind if we get a picture of the whole group so we can hopefully all get it, and then when we're looking at the contact list, you know who's who again?
Sometimes they're fun. Sometimes you see light beings standing next to you and stuff that you never knew you had. In the pictures, sometimes they'll come out. Really?
Are you following me around?
They can work.
Take a picture.